Vikalastrimula Chaturasa Panchavita Shadatma Abhaktagasta Vitapo Naracho Dasakshadid Vikago Jadi Vrikshaha. Mataji. Ekayanasa Rasa Panchavita Shadatma Abhaktagasta Vitapo Naracho Ekayanaha, the body of an ordinary living being is fully dependent on the material elements. Asau that Vipalaha, in this body we are subject to material happiness and distress, which result from karma. Trimulaha, having three roots, the three modes of nature, goodness, patience, and ignorance, upon which the body is created. Chaturasaha, four rasas or tastes. Panchavidaha, consisting of five senses for acquiring knowledge. The eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and touch. Shadatma, six circumstances. Lamentation, illusion, old age, death, hunger, and thirst. Saptatvak, having seven coverings. Skin, blood, muscle, fat, bone, marrow, and semen. Ashtavitapaha, eight branches. The five gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and also the mind, intelligence, and ego. Navakshaha, nine holes. Dashachati, 10 kinds of life air, resembling the leaves of a tree. Trikaha, two birds, the individual soul and the super soul. He, indeed, Adi Vrikshaha, this is the original tree or construction of the material body, whether individual or universal. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: the body, the total body, and the individual body are the same composition, may figuratively be called the original tree. From this tree, which fully depends on the ground of material nature, come two kinds of fruit: the enjoyment of happiness and the suffering of the distress. The cause of the tree, forming its three roots, is association with the three modes of material nature: goodness, patience, and ignorance. The fruits of bodily happiness have four tastes: religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation, which are experienced through five sense senses for acquiring knowledge in the midst of six circumstances: lamentation, illusion, old age, death, hunger, and thirst. The seven layers of bark covering the tree are skin, blood, muscle, fat, bone, marrow, and semen. And the eight branches of the tree are the five gross and three subtle elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. The tree of the body has nine hollows: the eyes, the ears, the nostrils, the mouth, the rectum, and the genitals, and 10 leaves, the 10 airs passing through the body. In this tree of the body, there are two birds. One is the individual soul, and other is super soul. Purport. This material world is composed of five principal elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, all of which are emanations from Krishna. Although materialistic scientists may accept these five primary elements as the cause of material manifestation, these elements in their gross and subtle states are produced by Krishna, whose marginal potency also produce the living entities working within this material world. The seventh chapter of Bhagavad Gita clearly states that the entire cosmic manifestation is a combination of two Krishna's energy, the superior energy and the inferior energy. The living entities are superior energy, and the inanimate material elements are his inferior energy. The dormant stage, everything rests in Krishna. Material scientists cannot give such a thorough analysis of material structure of the body. The analysis of material scientists concerned, concerns itself only with inanimate matter. But this is inadequate because the living entity is completely separate from material bodily structure. In Bhagavad Gita 7.5, the Lord says, Apareyam itasvanyam prakritim vitime param jivaputam mahabaho etam daryate jagat. Besides this material nature, inferior nature, of mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprise the living entities who are exploiting the resources of the material inferior nature. Although the material elements emanate from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, they are separated elements and are sustained by the living entities. As indicated by the words Trikaha, the living elements within the body resemble two birds in a tree. Ha means sky and Gha means one who flies. Thus, the word Trikaha refers to birds. In the tree of the body, there are two birds or two living elements, and they are always different. In the Bhagavad Gita 13.3, the Lord says, Kshetrajna chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. O son of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies. The Kshetrajna, the individual knower of the body, is also called the Gaha, the living entity. Within the body, there are two such Kshetrajnas, the individual soul and the super soul. The individual soul is the knower of his individual body, but the super soul is present within the bodies of all living entities. Such a thorough analysis and understanding of the bodily structure cannot be obtained anywhere but in the Vedic literature. When two birds enter a tree, One may foolishly think that the birds become one or merge with the tree, but actually they do not. Rather, each bird keeps its individual identity. Similarly, the individual soul and the supersoul do not become one, nor do they merge with matter. The living entity lives close to matter, but this does not mean that he merges or mixes with Ashankyo Purusha. Although material scientists mistakenly see the organic and inorganic or animate and inanimate to be mixed. Vedic knowledge has been kept imprisoned or concealed, but everything human being, but every human being needs to understand it in truth. The modern civilization of ignorance is simply engaged in analyzing the body, and thus people come to erroneous conclusion that the living force within the body is generated under certain material conditions. People have no information of the soul, but this verse gives the perfect explanation that there are two living forces, the individual soul and the super soul. The super soul is present in every body. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hridesh Arjuna Tishtati. Bhagavad Gita 1861. Whereas the individual soul is situated only in his own body, Dehi, and is transmigrating from one body to another. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Parshatya Deshakarina. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakti. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Ekayano so Tripalas Trimulas Chaturasa Panchavitashadatma Shabdatva Kastavitapo Navaksho Tasachadi Vikako Hyadi Vrikshaha. The body, the total body and individual body are of the same composition may figuratively be called the original tree. From this tree, which fully depends on the ground of material nature, come two kinds of fruit, the enjoyment of happiness and the suffering of the distress. The cause of the tree forming its three roots is association with the three modes of material nature, goodness, patience, and ignorance. The fruits of bodily happiness have four tastes: religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation, which are experienced through five senses or acquiring knowledge in the midst of six circumstances: lamentation, illusion, old age, death, hunger, and thirst. The seven layers of bark covering the tree are skin, blood, muscles, fat, bone, marrow, and semen. And the eight branches of the tree are the five gross and three subtle elements: earth, water, fire, air, three mind, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. The tree of the body has nine hollows: the eyes, the ears, the nostrils, the mouth, the rectum, and the genital, and 10 leaves, the 10 air passing through the body. In this tree of body, there are two birds. One is the individual soul, and the other is the super soul. Hare Krishna. So we continue to hear the prayers by the demigods. So we all heard the previous verse last time. Ram Kumar Prabhu gave the first prayer by the demigods. Although the whole chapter is called prayers by the demigods, but it started just 26 verse onwards. So in the first prayer, they say Satyavratam Satyaparam Trisatyam Satyasya Yonim Nihitam Cha Satye Satyasya Satyam Vrita Satya Netram Satyatmakam Tvam Sharanam Prapanna. So everything they say Satya, 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 you know. So now suddenly in this verse is completely, doesn't look any link, because suddenly about the Lord is glorified. Now suddenly about the comparison to the body, different, analysis is given. So when I read, I couldn't think what is the link, how it is. Then Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives the link. After hearing the first verse, he says that Lord is asking questions to the demigods. If I endowed with body, senses, and Dhamma, and Satya, if these are all Satya, then is the material world Asatya? That's a question by the Lord after hearing the first verse. Then the demigods answers, the world is this world, this material world is true, but subject to destruction in time. Whereas you are not destructible by time, you are indestructible. With this intention, they recite this verse. So this is the link to the second verse. So this is very nice. Otherwise, it's very difficult to link. What is the first verse, and now the second verse? So here we see whole verse is explained from number 1 to 10. So nicely. It's very interesting to hear. It's amazing to hear. Such a description. It's not, you just find like this kind of description everywhere, as Prabhupada says, it's only Vedic literatures you can find. So, only Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also in his commentary, the same all 10, this comparison is given. Only is a little different about this 4, number 4, the 4 tastes. Prabhupada here, given Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur say the 4 Varnas and Ashramas. That's only little different. Otherwise, everything is same. And this comparison about the body with the different thing is in the Vedic literature that we find in Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads and various places, various ways compared. And it's not something new. And in the Bhagavad Gita already we heard in the beginning, Vasam Sajinaneta Vihaya. Krishna is comparing the body to the dress or clothes which cover the spirit soul. And also Krishna says, Entra Rudani Maya. Entra, the body is compared to the machine. And also we see in the scriptures in the Upanishad, the same uh, point is like in these verses given that famous Prabhupada always quotes from the Upanishad that the body is compared to the tree and there is two birds. One is witnessing, other one is tasting the fruits in the tree. So, and also like that, there are different comparison. There is a comparison to the chariot. The horses are the senses, and the rope, which is compared to the mind, and then like that, different comparison given. And also the body is compared to the boat, which can cross the ocean, uh, which can help to cross the ocean. Uh, material world is also compared to the ocean. So, like that, the different comparison is given. So here also, the whole verse, such a nice way is explained. Although so many things are explained, but in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is not going for these points explaining. He just took one main thing, that kaha, the word, uh, the knower of the body, or the soul or super soul, these two living entities. He just explaining most of the purport. And apart from that, I see that Prabhupada also makes very important point, which I felt when I read, that he says material scientists cannot give such a thorough analysis of the material structure of the body. And again, he stressed, such a thorough analysis and understanding of the bodily structure cannot be obtained anywhere but in the Vedic literature. So he's kind of repeated same point. So it's very important. Why? Because since Krishna is a creator, he says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, everything is emanated from Krishna. Prabhupada also gives the first line immediately, this point. So he knows what is made of this material world and how it works, and ultimately, and what is the purpose of this creation. Everything he knows more than anybody else. Like we also getting so many different things. Yesterday, I got one parcel from Amazon. They delivered, which I ordered a few days back. And then, I was wondering what would be the material. They didn't give much explanation about the product. So I was wondering. Then when it comes, I see the description. There is so many things that they give. Later, I noticed, and how to use, and what is the purpose. Everything they give full details, because they are the manufacturer. They know much more than anybody else. So many things we buy, we may, by looking the product, we may, this made of this material, this is like this is like this. We may, assume something about the product, but we may not come to complete knowledge about the product, and ultimately the purpose of the product is, unless the people who produce, they explain, is difficult to know. So, therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter, text 2, after telling to Arjun that, hear from me, Darsharano. So, then Krishna says, Jnanam teham savijnanam idam vaksham asheshataha yajnatva neha bhuyonyam natavyam avashishyate. So he says, Jnanam, the phenomenal knowledge, means knowledge about everything about his energy. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, I will explain to you the knowledge of my powers. That's, he says, knowledge, jnana. And then, savijnanam. Then, Srila Prabhupada says, numinous knowledge, means is unlimited knowledge, which is spiritual knowledge. That Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur explained. First knowledge, then the sweetness. That is, he says, vijnana. Unless you learn about Krishna's energy, you will not know, his personal name, form, quality, and other details about him. It's difficult to understand it. So this is very important. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is the basic, knowledge for all spiritual understanding, because Krishna explained how he is the source of everything, how all the all these material elements, which is made of all this, as this verse says, all this material world or this body is made of same elements. All these elements comes from Krishna. He creates. So, and unless you know about his energies and how much he is powerful and how great he is, then it's difficult to understand his dealings, his activities, his appearance. Everything is very difficult to understand. Therefore, people always hear some how Krishna appeared, how he left the body, and immediately they start speculate. This is how, because they see Krishna like anybody else, like ordinary human being. But Krishna clearly explains in Bhagavad Gita, he creates everything. He is beyond this creation, and he was the before the creation, and while this world is existing, he is there. Then after the creation, he remains. Therefore, he says, Param Bhavam Ajhanata. People who don't know about the Param Bhavam, the transcendental nature of the Lord, for them it's very difficult. Therefore, they are mudas. So, therefore, Krishna is explaining here that by knowing about his energies and about him, and Ajnatva Neha Bhuyonya Jnatavyam Vasishyate. There is nothing else to know. You don't have to learn anything else than what Krishna says, because that is the complete knowledge. There is no beyond this, there is some knowledge. Nothing is there beyond that. So this I felt very important for us to understand, because we see practically always people are attached to some material thing. They are so much impressed with the scientific advancement, this technology, all these things. Oh, this is so nice, so helpful, so much, now becomes so easy by having such a nice fast car and highway, and, so fast we can go, and, we have a computer within the fingertip, all world, you can come to know anything about the world, anything about the people, everything you can learn just by searching in Google. Like that, people are so much impressed with all this thing, and they are so much attracted, and they can't understand. All of this, as Prabhupada explained, is just everything about the matter only. There is nothing about beyond the matter, but that's not complete. But Krishna gives the complete knowledge. Even about this matter, they don't know the purpose of why this matter is there and how it works. They don't know. Srila Prabhupada gives simple example that they speak about this, the law of gravity. But they can't explain how this is such a huge universe is, floating in the air. Why is there is no law of gravity for that? Who made that law? Who how it works? How is possible? We can't keep small, which is the very light thing, the cotton and the air. We can't do it. Doesn't stay. On small paper, piece of paper, we can't keep it. But that they cannot explain it. So therefore, Prabhupada says, if they don't know, then what is the value of their scientific knowledge? Because they cannot answer these questions. They say they are they, that they are not worth of knowing, Prabhupada says. So at least after coming to this Krishna conscious movement and after coming to association with devotees, when practicing people, especially after taking Diksha, shelter from the spiritual master, at least people should understand this much that nobody else can teach more than Krishna. Anything, whether it's material or spiritual. Spiritual, there is no way other than Krishna. But even material, the full knowledge, anything about material, unless you know the purpose of any material creation, then how you're going to use it? So therefore, all mess, people, because people, they don't know what is the purpose of this material creation, what is the purpose of this body. They try to exploit it. They just try to enjoy their senses. But supposed to be the product from this body, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, the four tastes. This verse is explaining. But they have no idea today in the modern societies, specifically these so-called scientists, they have no idea what is dharma and moksha. Only two things they know. Kama, sense gratification, and development of economic development, artha. So then how it will be complete? Even in the material platform, they are not really happy. Even they are not, because they don't have complete knowledge of the. And what to speak of the fifth, Panchama, Purushartha. These four is considered, is explained as a Purushartha. This is the goal of human life. But there is a fifth goal, is given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Panchama Purushartha. How is possible for them to understand it? It's completely distinct from the body. But these people, they know only body and also is very limited. They don't realize what is their real nature. No one has an idea what is their real nature. So, at least after coming to the Krishna consciousness, associating with devotees, after reading Srila Prabhupada, at least devotees should have a faith, just is enough to teach our children to, the knowledge about Krishna consciousness, about the Prabhupada books. That's enough to make them the perfect living being, and then they can attain the goal of life. That is 100% is guarantee is given. Prabhupada so many times says, just follow these four regulative principles, chant 16 rounds, and regularly have satsanga, engage in the service, and then you just go back home, back to Godhead in this life. When Acharya like Srila Prabhupada is giving such a promise, it's not just some word, somebody is speaking something. It's very powerful. Krishna is so eager to fulfill his devotees' words. Therefore, we see in Bhagavad Gita, he asking to announce to Arjun, because that cannot, he cannot, ignore it, that he cannot fulfill it. He has to fulfill it. So, this so important thing, when Srila Prabhupada is explaining these points, uh, we have to understand that nobody can give better knowledge. And what to speak of, today is already we discussed 2 times last week, that today is, even this material knowledge is not as given as a knowledge. This is like it's some product. You is made it as a business. You buy, you pay and get the certificate, diploma, one piece of paper. You have to pay lakhs and lakhs of rupees. So therefore, there is no any respect. There is no any means the teacher, the student relationship is completely it's not anymore like before. So, and how you expect these kind of people, the business people will give you some knowledge which is going to help your life. There's no way. But since Krishna is creator of this whole world, he knows the perfect knowledge and he gives the perfect knowledge. And we see when Prabhupada speaks to the scientists, professors, all big people, and he is so confident, he could just defeat everyone. Even though they have so much knowledge, they may have some details, knowledge that devotee may not know. But the purpose of the creation, the purpose of life, the devotee is very clear. So based on that, the Prabhupada argues always. And what is the value? What is the, use? After so much so-called this advancement, development, you see the people are not happy. Or moreover, people are more suffering than before. Before all this scientific advancement, people were lived a very simple life and they were much more truthful, much more, all the good qualities they had than now. But now all good qualities are, you don't find anybody having any good qualities. More you have a material education, more you are cheater, you learn how to exploit others, all the crooked way. See all these politicians who are more educated, they are more squeezing out from people, they exploit the people. So therefore, for devotees, as a practitioner, we should understand that Krishna is Janmadhyasya Adaha. Bhagavatam says, Krishna says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu, and he is the, creator of everything, and he is the source of everything, and he knows the, the perfect knowledge about everything. And just accept this point and then just try to understand. Of course, we may not understand everything in the beginning, but by following the sadhana, which is given by our spiritual master, by associating with the devotees, slowly, we may learn how Krishna is great. Then we will be able to understand Krishna's Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila, everything. how is a transcendental. uh, And we can also understand same time simultaneously in how much is we are our constitutional position as a servant, how much we are Anandamaya Vyasad, we are also is made of bliss. We don't have to suffer this material world. We don't have to take birth again, in this material world. We don't have to suffer. But because of this acceptance, because of this knowledge is not there, uh, then it's very difficult for us to come out of this. We go on suffering in this material world. Uh, And we are so proud of this body. But this body is not, is the body which we have is a punishment for us. Actually, this is the reaction of our sinful activity. Therefore, we have a material body. And today, people, so much makeup they put, so much, hairstyle, this, that, beauty parlor. It's completely bodily concept, and they think this body is giving us happiness. But actually, more you are in the bodily concept, more you are suffering, more you are in distress. So therefore, we have to see in the past, uh, people, they were getting this knowledge in so many different way, even though they are not, everybody went to school, they're not everybody educated, but still, people have idea. They understand dharma, artha, kama, moksha. This is the way how to advance. Even though you want kama, sense gratification, but that you should get in dharmic way. If you do business, you can have a profit, but not like, you purchase for 10 rupees and sell for, 1,000 rupees or 100 rupees, 200 rupees, 100% profit. Not like that. Exploiting others. So people, they were happy because they know the goal is moksha. Ultimately, we have to get out of this material world. So for that purpose, till we are here, we have to maintain this body. So they lived very simple life. And what people today they think, because the so-called advancement, because they don't understand what is the goal of life, they think those people lived in the forest, they don't know anything about advancement. But that's not a fact. The fact is they knew much better than today the scientists. They knew much. They were much more advanced than today people. There are so many. Even now there is proof is there. Go to Sri Rangam, see this temple. See one pillar. How they could carve such a detailed work, and how they could lift it those such a pillars. You see there are hundreds of kilometers around Srirangam or Tanjavur. There is no hills. It's not like a Salem. Salem, you stand all around, you see so many hills. Means they brought the stones from far, far away. We are getting all around this blue metal stone just not more than the 50, 60 kilometers surrounding. Even for that, we struggle. We have to pay so much transportation charge. And not only that, putting in the truck and then getting down, everything you need, again another machine is so difficult. And not only that, in the past also we see in Mahabharata, we hear that the architecture knowledge what they had is mind blowing, unbelievable actually. Is so much detail. The Duryodhana is going and he thought it's just open. It's not, but it was window, the glass was so transparent, he could not realize there's a window. And he could not realize that there is water or the floor. That much is so detailing they work. It's not they are, not having any, not only the architecture knowledge, everything about the universe, about the, everything about the body, the medical, Ayurveda. If you know the details, my God, is today nobody will take all these English medicines, the allopathy medicines. But unfortunately, people lost this knowledge uh, because they are not pure. Actually, this is this kind of knowledge will not given to anybody just like that, unless you are pure, unless your motive is good. This knowledge will not be revealed, even though it's material. So, therefore, in the past, people they lived very simple, simple living, high thinking. That's the goal. High thinking means not how to develop economic development, how to accumulate crores and crores of rupees. Not like that. That's not high thinking. That's very low thinking. So, therefore, we have to understand that in the past, people were much more advanced than today. It's not like today they present completely different. As soon as you speak about Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, or any Vedic literature, you are living in the Stone Age, all this comment they give. But those people who have much more knowledge, anything about matter or spiritual, everything much more than, much more intelligent than you. And they were happy. The result was there. Even now, if you follow, you are happy. The devotees who are taking seriously the Krishna conscious process, the Vedic process, they are happy. They are living a happy life. We are experiencing it. It's not that, it's going to happen after we leave the body. We don't know whether it will happen or not. It's not like that. Now itself. Pratakshabagamam dharmam. Krishna says, now we can experience it. So, of course, Prabhupada already explained the rest of the purport about this Vikaha, the soul and super soul, the two knowers. In the Bhagavad Gita also Krishna explains more. So I thought just these 2 point Prabhupada, stressing, I thought that's important. So these are a few thoughts about this. Is there any question or a comment thing to add?
Prabhupada wrote in the purport is so amazing. He says that Vedic knowledge has been kept imprisoned or concealed. Every human being needs to understand it in truth. So I just thought that the Britishers were very smart enough to identify this. So Lord Macaulay, when he came, so he said that so the root of their education, everything is starting from this Gurukula education. So that's where the whole Vedic knowledge is revealed. So we should just tap them. We should stop this. They should not get this Vedic knowledge, and we should introduce all Western concepts, Western ideas. So people get convinced with that. And that, as you explained in the class, that's what has happened. It's all about body, matter. That's what being repeated, repetitively that's being spoken. So Prabhupada is amazingly pointed out that either it is imprisoned or concealed. And Prabhupada came and then he revealed the whole knowledge throughout. He was challenging in every university wherever he went. Where is a department about the soul or body? So that was amazing. While Prabhupada is pointing out here.
Yes.
Just one question. the difference between the translation word, the way Chatu Rasa has been translated, I understand from the from a class that by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Chatu Rasa has been translated as the four varnas. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
For
Just
varnas and ashramas also.
four ashrams. So we understand rasa is kind of a taste. So just if you throw some light, how the four ashrams could have that taste. Just trying to understand how what makes Vishnu Jagataku to translate as rasa as four varnas or four ashrams.
I couldn't get.
You said it's four ashram or four?
Yeah, for varnas and ashramas.
Four ashram. Okay. So rasa means taste.
Yeah.
So how a living entity, now here living entity is able to get chaturasa is by artha, kama, moksha and dharma, four ways. Whereas in the varna system and the four ashrams, how a living entity gets taste. How does it experience, means
without following the dharma, artha, kama, then without these four, how anybody can live, whether varnashrama or without varnashrama. This four is very important thing. That's the goal of life. How anybody can live without these things. Everyone should have this dharma, artha, kama, moksha. That of course today the dharma and moksha idea is not there. Therefore, they work only for these two things, and therefore they are not happy. Therefore, they are suffering more and more. But in the Vedic culture, everybody they followed dharma, and according to dharma, they earn money. They got the economic development, and then also sense gratification followed what is Veda says. Sense gratification is not that other than what Veda says. Veda says if you want to have a family, very good family, good children, good economic development, do this puja, do this yajna, all the guidance is there. 90% of the Vedas is, karma kanda portion. So is all this guidance is given. So everybody followed. All varnas and ashramas, they followed those things. So that's the point, what is given here. Even though is differently given, but ultimately it comes to that point. This is what we understand. I don't know how you are thinking that, ashrama people cannot, without dharma, artha, kama, how they will live. Ashrama means it's for spiritual advancement, but still, it's not that everybody immediately come to the transcendental position. You got it? I don't know what you want really.
Yeah, I made a connection between that the four varnas. They also have a objective of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So each one of those four varnashram, which is there, they have. It's like Srila Prabhupada probably gives it more magnified version, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a broader view of the four varnas, which is again a living entity which has been planted in that particular varna, and in that he has to experience these four ways of life, where at the end he gets the moksha, where he tastes what his moksha is.
Yeah. ग्रंथ Srimad Bhagavatam की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.